Welcome back. Trying to keep myself as warm as possible, so I'm all hooded up here. So Eminem is going to be dropping the Death of Slim Shady on July 12th, so it is coming very quickly. And we've already got a couple of singles, Houdini and Tobey. Tobey just dropped as of yesterday as of recording this video. And this album is following up Music to Be Murdered By, which dropped all the way in 2020. So it has been a long time since we've received an Eminem album. And the expectations of this album and these singles I have found pretty interesting. I find that one camp wants this Slim Shady, kind of controversial figure, kind of a little bit more of the oddball kind of demeanor of Eminem to come back, which we have seen. And then there's another side of the camp that wants Eminem to kind of mature in his sound, mature in his writing, mature in his delivery. So he's really kind of has two camps kind of going at each other, figuring out what this album is going to be. And a lot of people have also, from what I've seen, this is all just from my personal observation, a lot of people are kind of upset and just feel like we're just recycling the same old thing, is that I'm the best rapper of all time, you should be in your top 5, all this kind of stuff like that, kind of this braggadocious stuff that people think is kind of just beating a dead horse at this point. But the way I look at it is that this past decade has been very, very rough for Eminem, to the point for myself that Eminem isn't really in a conversation as one of my top rappers of all time. And Revival was a major, major pivotal point for that. And when Revival dropped, it was such a shock to the system in some of the worst ways possible for me. And I totally get the angle of trying to be more political and trying to be more serious and sincere, but it really just fell flat. And not to mention the writing was so incredibly weak and so juvenile. And when you're trying to kind of contrast the seriousness with the goofiness, it just really doesn't work out on this album. Kamikaze was a response record to the people that were upset about Revival. And I don't mind Kamikaze. A good half of the record is actually something I can pretty much tolerate all the way through. The Greatest is probably one of my favorites on there. Fall with the Bon Iver sample is fantastic. And also Lucky You of Joyner Lucas is honestly still a banger to this day. But then you have the songs with Jesse Reyes, which caused the album to go a little bit of a downslide. And then you got Venom, which has the best hook of all time. And then we get to Music to Be Murdered By, which does kind of juggle both the seriousness and the goofy and kind of controversial nature of Slim Shady. It kind of puts them both together, and honestly, this is probably one of the better attempts over this decade that kind of brings these two into a coexistent kind of place and makes it work. And as you can see by the ratings, user score of a 22, 46, 50. Critics score 51, which is surprising, 58, 63. So Eminem has slowly been trying to get up to the point where both critical reception and general reception is starting to get a little bit more positive. And with these two singles, I feel like we are moving a step forward in the right direction. So I'll start off with the Houdini. So when I listened to Houdini for the first time, I didn't mind it. I found, again, just kind of going back to that Slim Shady sound, I kind of pictured it with the single. And the more times I've listened to it, the more I've actually grown to actually like it a good amount. It's not going to be one of my favorite songs of all time. Not probably one of my favorite songs of the year, to be honest. But it's just kind of a funny-natured, just kind of goofier Eminem. And I feel like a lot of people just really want Eminem to just go at the throat, just bring this top-tier lyricism, which, don't get me wrong, I do as well. But on this stage of Eminem's career and on this album, I don't know if we're going to get that, and we kind of maybe have to accept that. But overall, I think the song is fun, and I think that's what we should take away from it, is that it's a fun track. If you have problems with the rating, if you have problems with the instrumental, if you have the problems with the flow, I can totally understand your perspective, because it really isn't for everyone. Especially for older kind of Eminem fans who do want that kind of older sound back that was a little bit more serious, a little bit more technical, and a little bit more proficient on the writing. For me, I take this song as more of a fun track, and that's where I kind of leave it at. And then we get to Tobey, which has Big Sean and Baby Tron as feature vocalists on here. And what I do really like about this track is that it kind of has the pacing almost like of a horror film where it's just constantly building up tension. And while that tension never really reaches a climax or reaches a peak, I do appreciate that it kind of just allows a display for Eminem, Big Sean, and Baby Sean to give some pretty decent verses. Probably my favorite verse is probably from Big Sean, because I think Big Sean does bring some better quotables, and I think he does really well in this instrumental. Eminem is on second, Baby Tron's on third, even though Baby Tron does have a little bit of the charisma. He does have some decent one-liners on here. Overall, I definitely do take Tobey over Houdini. And going into this album, I'm going to try not to be so overtly critical. And honestly, I'm just going to have a fun time. Now, if the album goes into a very serious direction from these two singles, then it may be a very much jarring experience. But overall, I think this album is going to be a lot more kind of, I guess, it's hard to really put, but it's going to be a lot more less serious in nature. It's going to be a little bit more kind of playing it a little bit of controversy, just wink, wink, nudge, nudge kind of stuff. And we should expect Eminem to do that at this point, honestly. And I expect this to be more of just a more humorous, more fun, kind of just goofier kind of project. That's kind of what I'm expecting with this record. Although with Death of Slim Shady as the title, may go serious, may go a little bit meta with it. Who knows? But that's kind of what I'm expecting from this record. I'm expecting something just a little bit more kind of fun at this point. And if you want to shit on the record when it comes out to be very much serious and wanting kind of more proficient Eminem, I totally understand. There's two camps, and Eminem has done so well in both areas that if you want Eminem to go back to that sound, I can totally understand if these singles aren't really fitting your vibe. But that's just kind of my thing. So thank you very much for watching. I've been trying to talk as much and hold my breath at the same time. But what do you think of this record when it comes out? Are you excited? Are you a little bit skeptical? I don't blame you. But thank you very much for watching. Thank you for giving me the time and taking the time to watch this video. And you have a great day.